And we're back, everyone, for game two here between Vengeful Reapers and MG Nitro. MG Nitro taking game one in a one-sided massacre here of Vengeful Reapers as Vengeful Reapers tried to fight back every opportunity they got. And with that, I am Random Minion Caster, and alongside me still is Angelic Poro. How are you feeling after that game one, Poro?
Well, after that game one, it's definitely been interesting to see how MG Nitro has definitely played the game over because you really don't expect them to get a 4K gold lead basically around like 15 minutes. And that's certainly something that you have to keep an eye on. If you don't really keep an eye on that, you're basically, let's say, lose the game, something like that. Um, but definitely it leaves a lot of room for them to snowball early on.
For sure, and the picks and bans have started here, and there's been a change on the Vengeful Reaper side here for their roster. They've taken out Drizzle from the ADC position, and they're gonna use Heal Slowat instead. Previously of SFAD and Imagine Wagons, Heal Slowat now subbing in as an ADC. We've seen her mostly play support here, and last split she did play mid as well for Raw Rampage, the winning team. Now she's coming in as an ADC. That is a role she does play, but certainly not one that we've seen her play a lot of here in the Coalition League.
Right. She did play a lot of ADC last season around. She did spare some time with Rooker, which is not on the team anymore. Um, but she does play ADC proficiently, and it is a role that they do have in their back pocket.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be seeing a different sort of bot lane dynamic here compared to game one, especially since Vengeful Reapers is gonna ban out that Vayne as their first ban here.
Right. They ban out the Vayne. Definitely just bans out Yakti bot in the beginning. And now they're looking for two of the bans that they need to ban out now, like the Jarvan and maybe the Oriana. Those picks definitely is gonna be one of the couple bans that they need a ban in phase one.
Yeah, and you can see right away that they're changing up their ban strategy almost completely here from Vengeful Reapers, and I like that adaptation. If you lost that heavily in game one, why not mix it up a lot? Because it's real. Like it wasn't exactly a amazing composition from the side of MG Nitro. There was really solid picks, and if it's not a composition, it's hard to just change little things. You might as well just change everything up instead, force them onto something different, and we'll see how it goes, right? And so MG Nitro are going to ban out the Trundle and the Galio, same as what they did last game. There's no need for them to change anything up. And Vengeful Reapers going to ban out the Kiana instead. So I guess they're feeling that Oriana was not as big an issue in lane necessarily. It was more that she just kind of ran away with it there. And again, Microthorn and Jason KB can flex a lot as well. So we could be seeing Microthorn now in the mid lane, and that would create a whole different dynamic as well. He might have a pick he's very comfortable with running into Oriana, and that might be the plan here. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that definitely could be the plan, but again, they pick out or they find Thresh to be free on the chopping block. Again, they pick it up as the first pick, and this time around they actually pick up Leona, which is definitely gonna be interesting because you don't quite see a lot of Leona this time, right? These metas, unless you see a Nautilus. Um, yeah, just and we did see how effective Thresh was for exact. Just Thresh was is one of his key champions or one of his main champions that he likes to play in solo queue. And as we saw in the last game, he played it so well with the roams and the timing of those roams. Just and to match up against the Thresh, you have a Leona now that can basically just face tank all of it, and they have Ash for the AoE slows.
Yeah, and I mean that Leona pick, well, I was just gonna say actually would mean for me either one of two ADCs, and that would either be MF or Ashe. That's what we've been seeing a lot of here. So looks like they're gonna go with the extremely engage heavy Ashe Leona combination. It's great at level 6, can absolutely destroy people if they get picked unexpectedly. The Sivir counter from MG Nitro is a solid pick into that. The spell shield will help to negate some of that, but that means that they have to get the spell shield down in time. If they manage to pop the spell shield first, the Sivir will be extremely vulnerable to that Solar Flare Enchanted Crystal Arrow combination. We are going to see the Alawi coming out from MG Nitro here for only Luis. He did play that last week, and that Alawi, very, very strong, can go 1v2 when getting ganked after 6. And he picked it most likely knowing that Darius was something on the table. He did do it, I believe, last week. It was also an Alawi into a Darius. So only Luis very confident on this champion here.
Yeah, only Louise Alawi, even back then before she got nerfed to the ground, it's still a really, really strong champion once you hit that 6 mark. Once you hit that 6, any ganks that becomes available to Vengeful Reapers is basically gonna be um basically impossible for them to win because you have all the tentacles that comes out when you use your ult as an allowing. Once you have all of those tentacles out, you just heal for way, way too much, regardless of who's the jungler and the top laner.
Yeah, pretty much the only option at that point is to either burst Illaoi down immediately or look for that disengage, re-engage. If Noise plays the Echo again, for example, he can always go back in and out. The bans are coming out. Vengeful Reapers again going to ban the Kassadin and LeBlanc. They want to make sure Piglet doesn't get those assassins that can sort of take over the mid to late game here. And for MG Nitro side, they're going to ban out the Diana and Hecarim as well. So still targeting Noise out. Evidently, they feel that the Echo was not that big an issue, so they're going to leave that up. And to be fair, MG Exact seem to have Noise's number with that Echo here. And that is going to be a Wukong locked in for Vengeful Reapers.
Yeah, and we do see the Wukong coming out for Vengeful Reaper, so that could possibly be a Wukong jungle, or mid lane. We still have to see, but you have to note that a throat guard finally has his main champion, Nidalee. If we take a look on his OP.GG, he has a really good win rate on Nidalee, but now it's an organized 5 setting. You have to note how will he change up his build, how will he play, and how will he bring out his main champion for organized 5s, because Nidalee hasn't been an organized 5 champion since, let's say, season 5 or 6.
Yeah, and they are going to finally lock in that Syndra as well for MG Piglet. And this is a combination that's seen in pro play recently a lot. Either Nidalee Graves jungle with a very strong high kill potential mid laner as well. But the problem is this was before the most recent patch. And in this most recent patch, Syndra just got hit by a pretty hard nerf there early game. Her Qs, the orbs, the mana cost has gone up significantly. It's about 50% more at level 1. So we'll have to see if they'll be able to apply that same amount of pressure here for themselves. And the Katarina coming in for Vengeful Reapers, that's most likely going to be for Microthorn in the mid lane. He's been playing quite a bit of Katarina recently, so we might see now it's going to be Jason KB's Darius that we're going to see in the top lane most likely, and we'll have to see how that works out because Microthorn played it really well. Can Jason fill those big shoes here?
Yeah, it's just that is such a weird pick because you rarely ever see a Katarina in these type of plays. Usually, you would see a champion like, let's say, Rise, Azir, those type of champions who are really, really good. And for this game, I wouldn't expect a Corki, but now you see a Katarina, and they're just gonna try to go for full snowball and see how will this game go. How will the momentum shift during the team fights and the skirmishes?
I mean, if there's a team to pick Katarina into, this might be it here because Syndra's stun is not a point and click stun. The knockback has to land on the Death Lotus here. So the CC can be dodged out by the Katarina. You can Shunpo past those orbs, get in there, and that means you're fairly safe to output the damage. Nidalee, no CC. Illaoi, no CC, no hard CC, pardon me, from either Nidalee or Illaoi or Sivir. It's going to be all on Thresh and Syndra. So MG Piglet and MG Exact are going to be the ones to have to step up and stop the Katarina damage. And if you look at the composition from Vengeful Reapers, that screams AoE to me. They've got the Solar Flare lockdown. They've got Darius with the pull, with the AoE damage. Wukong, the double knockup. This is sort of the wet dream composition here for a Katarina to jump into with. Once everybody's in chaos, gets in there, Death Lotus, get those kills, get those resets. So Microthorn, this is probably the best setup he can ask for from his team, and we'll have to see if they're able to execute that, because we said that they had the better composition last time as well, but MG Nitro just picking strong champions across the board, and this is how they won game 1. They just ran over Vengeful Reapers with the stronger 1v1, stronger 2v2 matchups as well. And considering that a lot of that was from a throw guard in the jungle with that J4, now that you've given him his most played champion, that Nidoe there, I suspect that it's going to be very similar, and they're just going to have to stop themselves from dying in the first 10 minutes here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard. Katarina really needs that minion to dodge the Oriana, no, not Oriana, pardon me, Syndra stun. It's definitely weird to see Katarina. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, a lot of things that could go well. Just to shift it back over. Yeah, there's so much things that Katarina can do. There's so much combos. There's so much outplay potential, and they do have the Wukong knockup, so they could use that in their favor to set up Katarina for a Death Locus, bring her up around 2 or 3k ahead, and by then she will have a lot of money in her pockets by the end of those fights. So to note, we will have to see how a Wukong and Katarina will scale alongside each other.
Yeah, so definitely something to look forward to here. And in terms of scaling as well, MG Nitro does have Sivir, who's really, really strong in the late game. Can be considered a late game hyper carry a little bit with those crits, with the boomerangs. But the only issue I'm having with that Sivir here into the late game is that she's got to put herself into a huge risky position. She's one of the shortest ranged ADCs here, and with the Wukong, who can just engage really aggressively with that Darius and with the Katarina, I'm not sure that Yoctibot will be able to survive. But then again, he did it with the Vayne and another short range AD carry in game 1, so could potentially do that, or he can just bypass the whole worry by getting to the late game stage well ahead of everyone else. That could be a potential as well. So if it does go late, though, I think I will give it to Vengeful Reapers with their picks, with their composition here.
Right. If it does go late, it's definitely interesting which team will have the better team comp. But as you said, yeah, it could go into their favor. But in my point of view, it definitely is going to be all about the junglers this game around instead of the ADCs this time. And it's still going to be a matter of fact if Exact can pull up those picture perfect roams using the Mobies. But again, you gotta know, Thresh isn't that champion that basically plays all too well with only a Mobies. You really do need a little bit more before he becomes a danger to everyone around him.
Yeah, and I agree that I think the junglers will be
Just to
a
see
key.
Yakibo with Sivir, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how they will play with the boomerangs.
Yeah, and that's just saying. I do agree that I think the jungles will be a huge focal point here for both teams throughout the early to mid game. So definitely we'll be wanting to track those junglers. But I think the bot lane, despite the fact that we might not see Yoctibot pop off the way he did without the Vayne, who's a huge playmaking champion in and of herself, I think we need to continue focusing that bot lane. Not just because of MG Nitro's bot lane, but more because of Vengeful Reaper's bot lane. That's an Ashe Leona. At level 2, they can get really aggressive. At level 6, that's an absolute kill lane as well. So I still am expecting a lot of action coming up from that bot side, and we'll have to see how that one goes as well. And we've got about a minute left here on the spec delay. We will be heading into a short 1 minute intermission here, and we'll see you guys all back on the Summoner's Rift. And we're on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, on the blue side this time, it's going to be MG Nitro. On the red side, Vengeful Reapers, and MG Nitro currently in the lead in the series here, 1-0. We'll have their work cut out here dealing with Vengeful Reaper and their hyper heavy engage composition.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see which team comp and jungler is going to have to be quite surprising, or who plays it way better, because you don't quite see the Wukong jungle anymore, nor the Nidalee. So it's definitely be the battle of the wits and who does more damage along with tankiness. So this is my point of view, but it's definitely the thing that you have to keep an eye out on, because Nidalee early on gets quite a bit more abilities early on than anyone in this game.
Yeah, for the sure. Every level here unlocking 2 skills for Nidalee with that Cougar form as well as the human form. And the reason why this the Nidalee pick has become so popular in the pro scene, along with a strong mid laner, is the high kill potential they have as well. So a lot of times what we do see is the Nidalee sort of power farming, popping up to the mid lane to pick up a kill with the assistance of the mid laner, and then roaming, getting those leads sort of everywhere. And once the Nidalee gets a hit enough, she can start 1v1ing nearly any jungler. So that's why you see a lot of Graves Nidalee. We have to see if they manage to pull it off here. And like we said, the Syndra has been a little nerfed in the early game as well. Still has a lot of that burst potential as well, not before she even gets the unleashed power from the level 6. So definitely I'm going to be very excited to see if the attention gets paid to the mid lane the way I'm expecting here, or if they just opt to try and power farm it out, because Nidalee a very fast, solid jungle player as well.
Right, and you definitely can tell if they do execute this perfectly, if they do manage to pick up a few kills around mid lane. And that is quite a bit of poke onto MG Piglet already. What a beautiful stun there, and it just pops the electrocute.
And this mid lane is going to be extremely volatile. Both these champions, Katarina and Syndra, have extremely high burst potentials with Conquerors on Microthorn though.
You know, it's already going in, and Yakibot is chunked quite a bit, but the ignite from Exact is enough to warn him away from continuing the fight.
Yeah, and that's going to be almost all the summoners blown here on the side of MG Nitro in that bot lane. Only the heal left available for Yocti both, so we could potentially see a re-gank of this bot lane from Noise here.
Yeah, MG Piglet, the thing I'm noticing that he knows the range of Katarina's Shumpo, and when she picks up the daggers, it's so crucial that you know the range of Katarina's daggers and how much damage they will actually do. As soon as you remember that, you can basically outplay anything. However, in the bot lane, we do see a Flash E coming on, but fortunately they are able to live with at least a quarter health, so they are gonna be healthy. And now a throw guard playing out this a little dangerous, but gets a little bit damage for his troubles. In the mid lane, that's gonna be a stun, and now Microthorn actually shoot blows onto MG Piglet, but Microthorn is actually picks out the first kill before Piglet.
And Microthorn absolutely needed to get that first blood. He's really far behind right now in terms of CS. He's focused a lot of his attentions into poking and getting MG Piglet down, but Piglet took teleport, did not take the combat summoner, so will really not lose anything in terms of CS. Will give up first blood, but won't lose any lane pressure at all. In fact, will come back to lane with the Amp Tome there, with the Sapphire Crystal, so we'll have more mana.
Right. And the boomerang is not going to be landing onto J-Delion, however the hook will be. And that's going to be a free kill for Yachty both after extending too far up ahead. That's going to be a heal for heal slew what? And a throw guard will be flashing right under the turret to find himself a net profit of a kill and assist.
And I think there was a little bit of a disconnect here. Potentially, Healslowat and JD not perhaps playing enough together here. We saw JD initiate aggressively in there, but Healslowat backed off completely. That meant that JD was just completely shafted, and Leona goes in. She has no way back out of that fight once she's in there. And granted, yes, there was a collapse coming in. Throwguard was coming in, so was Piglet, but they did end up losing 2-0. And that's all the summoners now blown for Vengeful Reaper. So despite the good initial attention paid into that bot lane from Noise for Vengeful Reapers, they're actually going to come out behind, and that attention spent in that bot lane is going to set Noise behind as well.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see how amazingly that Thorgard actually played with his spears and the other things, but if we can quickly see the gold, I just want to see how much Nidalee has in his bank. And you still see she has 1,700. And she still hasn't backed yet. She's playing this on a nice edge. You're definitely gonna have to see what's the first item can be picked, because you still haven't seen Nidalee back with that much gold. And that's gonna hinder her reset quite a bit.
For sure, and that's the strength of that Nidalee early, right? She doesn't even need to base to get that damage, especially on those spears. She just needs the distance, really, and the base stats on that, with some of the execute damage as well. And with the base, I will be expecting her to rush that Runic Echoes jungle item as well, because definitely a really solid choice. Helps a lot with the spears, helps with the clear speed as well, but now top lane, always ganking up there.
Yep. Just get the armor shred down. But he takes a little bit of damage for his troubles, but chasing KD is going to be really low, but he could have guillotined right there if he really wanted to, and possibly that could have net him a profit of a kill. Now Thorgard's there, goes up to get a Dark Harvest stack, and this could be tragic. And the Ignite Flash comes out from Microthorn, and that nets him another one.
That's massive for Vengeful Reapers. They needed that so badly. It was starting to look like it was going the way of Game 1 here, where everything was just coming up MG Nitro. So if Microthorn's picking up these kills, that's who you wanted on anyways. That's the Katarina, your burst champion, the champion who can really just roll over and take over a game here early. And Microthorn seeming to be the carry condition here for Vengeful Reapers, whether he plays top or mid lane.
Oh, that was such a clean hook. However, JD has to go on onto Sivir if he wants to stop something, but he won't even have the chance to find himself one, and that's gonna be a kill for Sivir and a kill for Thresh.
This is really bad news for Vengeful Reapers in their bot lane because they're feeding Yachty and we already saw what happens when Yachty gets ahead last game. He single-handedly just controlled the bot side of the map on the Vayne, and yes, Sivir is not necessarily the same as the Vayne, will not have that 1v1 burst potential, but Sivir can destroy in team fights with a couple of crit items under her belt, with the Essence Reaver IE, and with a couple of those bouncing blades will just shred apart any team that wants to stick together. And Vengeful Reaper's team is one that's likely to clump up with all those AoE ultimates available, and that means those bouncing blades as well as the boomerang will just cut across the entire 5-man team here.
With Sivir, definitely when she picks up her 3 main items, she hurts so much when she picks up the static shiv and the rapid fire cannon. When she gets those 2 items, it makes it really hard for the enemy team to try and do something, because you have the boomerang that just bounces everywhere, clears minions very well, and it does so much damage. And now in the top lane, you do see Jason KB going in for a little bit of a trade, and then Noxus Guillotine should be coming out pretty soon, and yes, it does. It chops off Alawi's head for the kill.
Only Louise seeming to struggle a bit against Darius's. Once again, this time different Darius though, but bot lane.
Oh, the flash coming from Exact. Not sure what he was trying to do, but I guess it is working. And that the flay lands on both of them now. Now heals Lu what has to fall here. Yes, he will. Yachty is 3-1. He's really big now, but JD takes a third shot, but I'm not sure how much it will help. Noise will fall, and that's gonna be a clean 2-for-1. However, they trade nearly on the top side, but MG Piglet is having a difficulty, and now only Luis is right there to help him alongside, and that's gonna be a clean kill onto Microthorn I mean, and that's possibly gonna be a free kill for only Luis, and that's gonna be a free bounty for only Louise.
And that's a huge back and forth here in both sides. The numerical advantage in the bot side lay with Vengeful Reapers, but they end up overstaying, diving a little bit. A beautiful stopwatch there from Exact earlier to keep himself, buy himself time under that turret, and they managed to pick up Noise as well, who really shouldn't have had to go down there. And the top side, you see Microthorn outplaying as well. Managed to kill, what was that, 3 people on the top side? Or, sorry, 2 people. He killed Throwguard and Piglet there on the top side by himself. So really much better showing here from Vengeful Reapers this game. They are firing back, and both the sort of win conditions for each team right now, able to find themselves kills, find themselves leads. Microthorn 4-2-0, Yachty 3-1-3, and I'd just love to see what happens when these 2 carries begin to start meeting in these fights. We might see it here as Dragon is being focused.
Yeah, definitely gonna be quite hard, and now Noise gonna be trying to find the Drake, and Nidley is actually the one to secure it for his own team. That's gonna be an Infernal and Mountain, so it's gonna be look like a remake of Game 1. And now the cleanest spears I ever seen on a Nidley lands to find himself 2 kills. And this time around, the only difference is it's gonna be an Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and these Drakes just seem to be the bane here of Vengeful Reaper's existence right now. As you said, it's a repeat of Game 1 where everything falls apart at that Drake, and they lost so much. And Microthorn just got bursted down before the fight could even begin, really. And I think that's going to be something that might keep happening. But here,
but that is a lot of damage onto JD. Now he has a soft watch, but I'm not sure how much it will help. Play comes out and Exact within part auto, it does so much. And I'm not sure if this is the right call, and only Luis actually chunks out Jason KB.
And in that bot lane, Exact right now, his scoreline is better than Yachty. It's 3-0-7 to Yachty. 3-1 it's 3-0-7 versus Yachty. 3-1-7 here. So trying to make himself a bit of a carry, it looks like, on that Thresh as well. And that bot lane is going to just keep hemorrhaging here for Vengeful Reapers. Noise has already shown that he can't be the one to go down and influence that bot lane, and I don't think Microthorn is going to be able to accomplish quite as much either, because he has to be careful of that CC coming out.
Oh, that is so much. Microthorn, just 100-0 MG Piglet. Oh my god, that champion's not balanced.
And Microthorn making Katarina look broken here. And that was what I was saying in terms of Katarina. This is one of the best comps you can run it into here. But they managed to pick themselves up. The Herald Vengeful Reapers, they able to get Throwguard off of it when it was actually Throwguard who started that Herald up. So looking for small ways to get themselves back into the game here.
Yeah, they aren't incredibly too far back behind. Yet you do have the bot lane that's collectively 6-1-14, but as we're seeing, they really don't have the global pressure as they had last game. They have Microthorn just popping out everywhere on the map. The hook lands, and Hyoslu 1 is actually basically inting at this point.
Yeah, it is a bit of a rough lane, and with JD roaming around, that Ashe becomes very, very exposed and vulnerable here. And at this point, it might just be better off. They've gotten the first turret in the mid lane. They can afford to lose that bot lane turret and extend the lane.
But only Luis is caught out, but that is a lot of heal. That's a lot of slimage, and he trades 1 for 1.
Yeah, and that kill went to JD, not to Jason, not to Noise. So that's definitely going to hurt Vengeful Reapers there. I mean, a kill is a kill, but giving it to the support, the tank support, less than optimal here. But at least Vengeful Reapers is being proactive, is making moves. Microthorn has to be careful, though. These are the two people who can actually cause him a world of hurt.
Yeah, good play, but Microthorn already goes back in, and that's going to be a stun. Oh, wow. This battle of burst this time around. God, just focusing the wrong people. And that definitely caused Microthorn his life.
I mean, Microthorn at that point was pretty much up a creek with no paddle. Turning on the Exact, trying to get the kill was really all he could do. But unfortunately, like I said, that pairing is the worst pairing for Microthorn to deal with. Because that's all the hard CC on the side of MG Nitro. The Flay, the Death Sentence, the knockback from Piglet Syndra. If any of that connects, Microthorn is effectively dead. Because they can just chain that CC over and over again. And Piglet actually, I must say, has been doing quite well for himself. Despite facing that Katarina, despite having to be careful of getting 100-0, we still see that he's up almost 40 CS right now. In terms of kills, fairly even, and in terms of gold, they're pretty much dead even as well. So Piglet doing really well, despite having a really rough lane.
Yeah, as you see it, as we saw in the chat earlier, only Luis isn't doing all of that bad, but as he said, it is a bad matchup for Alawi to go into Darius. But that's not the case, that's what we're seeing. Only Luis is doing so much. And it actually forces Darius back all the way to tier 2 turret. And it warrants enough that he can't walk up regardless of what happens.
Yeah, and I actually really like that from MG Nitro. A lot of the teams right now in the Noxus division specifically tend to play that top lane like it's a 1v1. So when one top laner gets a lead, they can snowball. MG Nitro, though, understanding League is a 5-player game. It's 5v5, and so they constantly send Exact up there, Throwguard up there, Piglet. There's plenty of attention paid to that top lane to make sure that only Luis doesn't suffer.
Oh, that's a lot of damage. Yakibot finds one, but Katarina is jumping all the way in. Gunblade heals Microthorn for a lot. However, Unstoppable Power just shreds Microthorn immediately. Yakibot finds him 2 kills during this fight, and now he's gonna be continue to keep running and running, but he's not gonna be able to find anything else.
And this is actually really, really bad news for Vengeful Reapers, because that was a 5v4 here. Only Luis was not there. He was pushing the top lane, did not have teleport available. They got the engage, but Noise went down before he could even use the Wukong ultimate, so they didn't have the AoE CC they were hoping they could get here. And that's going to be a free ocean to MG Nitro. And like we already said, this is basically a repeat of game 1 right now. They have themselves a 7,000 gold lead, just shy of 7,000 here for MG Nitro at 18 minutes. They're almost going to get this in a turret. They're looking to be able to pick up the Ocean Soul, and that's way more valuable in a lot of these fights than the Cloud Soul here. So really, they're in the driver's seat. They've got the ones with priority with initiative. And if you're Vengeful Reapers right now, where is your comeback mechanic? Because Microthorn isn't able to survive these fights. The CC and Burst is now coming out strong enough to take him down before he can output his damage. They need to find that perfect engage, and what I'm looking for is for the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to initiate fights from afar with a huge number disparity. They can't win 5v4? Fine. Look for the 5v3. Look for the 5v2. Get those catches early. They've got all the tools for it. Forget the 5v5s for now.
Yeah, you have tools. You should use them. Try to look for something. The Solar Flare lands on Pigstack, not the optimal target, but that should be netting them a free kill, but the TP is going to be coming in. And Michael Thorne actually dies to Yakti Bolt, and a Throw Guard is able to eliminate and assassinate Wukong or Noise.
Yeah, Noise just not having a good time of it this series. It's as if they put a homing beacon onto him from exact landing death sentence after death sentence, whether he was playing Wukong or Echo. And the problem with that is he's getting engaged on, so he can't find those initiates into the backline effectively. They can get so much damage on him before he can even get in range to pump out his damage, and that starts an unequal fight. That fight right there started as a 3v3 with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming in from Heals the What as well. And like I say, you can't win even numbers. You've got to find a numbers disparity here. You've got to make sure you're the one with the advantage. And we take a quick look at Vision right now. MG Nitro has the map lit up like a Christmas tree. Baron will be spawning in 5 seconds, and they've got it all warded up. If you take a look at Vengeful Reapers right now, they're pushed into their jungle. They've got nothing in the river or past it right now. They're just trying to survive, but the problem is, I'm not sure they win this if the game keeps on scaling.
Yeah, if they keep doing the exact same thing they're doing right now, Vengeful Reaper is going to have a hard time just trying to get back in the game, because as we see now, there's 7k gold down. Everyone on MG Nitro's team is just playing really, really well, and it's starting to hurt. It feels like they're starting to bleed at this point, and it's basically a hemorrhaging that's happening. And Yaktibot is now 9-1. Christ Almighty.
Yeah, just a really, really rough game for Vengeful Reapers here. And there is no game 3 for them to recover here. This is a do-or-die game in terms of the series. And this is what I was looking for.
This is such a good arrow, but the Soul Flare does not quite hit. Now only Luis has to go for this fight. Unfortunately, the guillotine is way too much. Now a Throw Guard has to get out of here. He only has one chance to get out. Noise. But he doesn't make it back to his entire team, but Noise... Oh, he got way too greedy, and he has to pay that for his life. But Jason KB is now in the area. Heals for 300. Oh, what was that? Flash? A Throw Guard now finds one after he was the one to be chased. And now in the bot lane, we still see MG Piglet doing his thing and pushing up turrets.
I mean, say what you want about that Darius flash from Jason KB. I'll give him credit for one thing. He dodged the hook. And that's something Noise did not manage to do. And we saw Noise getting melted once again there. And they're starting to lose everything across the map once again.
Oh, double flash coming out, but actually, it dodges the stun. And now, if you had one chance to find a hook here, it would be now. But you don't go for it, and now only Luis is in a dire situation. Actually gets rooted, stunned, and wastes a teleport for that. Not gaining much from that.
And the Ocean's Drake will be coming up in about 20 seconds here. They've got a window where it's a 5v4. Jason KB did opt to take the teleport on this Darius, not the Ignite, not the Ghost. So he can look to push that top lane, join the rest of the team, and try and stall the Ocean Soul here. Because if the side of MG Nitro gets this Ocean Soul, only Louise and Yoctibot are going to be insufferable here. They're going to be able to heal up through these fights. There's already so much damage and sustain coming out of them as it is right now. So they really don't want to give this soul up here.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be the case. Oh, that spear actually lands. And now to clean up everything is going to be Micro Thorn to finish up a throw guard. And now everything is just not going the way that they planned it would be. Micro Thorn is extremely low now, and JD actually just gets bursted instantly.
No, he's trying to act like a Teemo there. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the invisibility. Will go down. That's going to be Ocean Soul going to MG Nitro once again. And, you know, every time they contest for Dragon right now, they're just dying. We saw it Game 1, it happened once here in Game 2. This is the second time they got just wiped at Dragon here, and the fight started well for them. They managed to chase MG Nitro off, and I think the problem is they got a little bit greedy there. They continued the chase. We saw JD initiating with that Zenith Blade, but his team was nowhere to be found. What didn't want any of that. She didn't feel safe enough. Microthorn was almost dead by that point, and it was only really Jason KB left around there, so... But that's a 2v3 they were about to initiate. And just they don't seem to be on the same page. It is very typical of Vengeful Reapers that they want to fight. I mean, if you look at the kill score, it's 27-14 at 24 minutes right now. Game 1, MG Nitro also beat a kill a minute score, and that's because Vengeful Reapers just keeps trying to fight into them. And while it does work as a comeback mechanic when you're close, if you're 10k apart at 24 minutes, you can't pick these sort of fights over and over and over again. You need to look for picks instead. You can afford to lose every turret outside your base if you have to, but you need to start finding advantages fights.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's gonna be how like what you said in Game 1, just go for a Death Wish and hope for the best. Because at this point, team fights aren't doing anything. Katarina already got her core items, and it's not doing all too much. So at this point, you might as well just go for Death Wish and hope for the best.
Yeah, the biggest problem right now for Vengeful Reapers, though, is that they have no turrets left outside their base, and their vision right now is getting starved.
Okay. Okay there.
I mean, he got his ADC over, and I guess that was the main point there.
Good enough, but then the Ash Arrow actually lands, and Jason KP is getting lower and lower, and Exact is actually the one to find another one, but only that's actually a 5v2, and not only Luis may have to pay his life for it, but good for only Luis, he doesn't waste anything for that.
And this is exactly what they needed to do. That was a perfect example right there. They played it great. They still had the vision here for themselves, and unfortunately for MG Nitro, their vision did not extend up quite that far just yet. So they managed to find themselves a great fight here. They do have to be careful for the steal, though. Nidoe, Throguard is up 3 levels on noise right now.
At this point, it's basically impossible to steal, or I mean, impossible to secure it, so the 3 levels up. But it is still possible. That is not a lot of damage coming out from MG Piglet, and misses the spears, but that's basically just gonna call that they're gonna be able to secure it all. Ash might be actually falling down here. Just maybe, yes, it will. That's gonna be a double kill for a Throguard, and he actually steals it. What the hell? And now Jason KB has to run for his life. That's a triple kill. A really good play from a Throguard. And wow.
This could be game right here. They've got 3 members on the side of Vengeful Reapers dead, about to be 4. They've got the Baron buff. They've got minions. They could easily push into the base here and look to end the game. And like you said, it's almost impossible to contest to get down to a smite fight with Throguard when he's that many levels up. And Heals to What dying there just cost them everything. They should have sent Jason KB instead to try and zone, but they sent the Squishy, and Nidoe is an expert at finding and killing those squishy targets here.
Oh, he tries so hard, but Exact runs all the way to turret. Katarina is trying everything that he can, but at this point, that's going to be a lot of damage from only Louise. and that's gonna be a double kill onto Yakti Boat, and a solo kill for NG Piglet, and this will be the game. It will be a 2-0 for MG Nitro.
Just waiting to get a bit more reinforcements here. They're out of minions. That siege, buried up siege minion is not wanting to sacrifice its life right now. Just staying out of range of turrets right now.
Yup, and all they really need is more minions. It's just heal Silhouette. It just can't do anything right now. I think she's just way too far ahead. And yes, it will be the game at mark 28-25. GG's to MG Nitro, and what a great series that we have cast.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely a one-sided series, but at the same time, it was good in that despite Vengeful Reapers being down a lot, they still continued to fight back here, and I think that's something that a lot of people underestimate, is just the importance of constantly trying to fight back, because they did give MG Nitro problems. We saw that anytime MG Nitro sort of let up off the pedal a bit, Vengeful Reapers would find a way to fire back.
Yeah, Vengeful Reapers, they tried everything that they could, but just extraordinarily well or good team play coming out from MG Nitro was enough to warrant everyone else to get away from them. That alone was amazing to see, that these teams together to do what they were doing. We saw two different play styles coming out from Vengeful Reapers, and unfortunately they couldn't win any games today. They still played extraordinarily well.
Yeah, and actually the highest damage this game did come out from Microthorn, 27,300 and a bit, over Yaktiboat's 27,200 and a bit. So despite being on the losing team, you can definitely see that they tried fighting and they didn't go quietly there.
But sure as heck, that is a lot of damage. You really don't expect the Katarina in Organized 5 to do that well, because you can just communicate whatever she's trying to do. And yeah, but unfortunately, we do see the pick up the pace with the Darius again. Noise and Microthorn is playing extraordinarily well this game around, but unfortunately, a throw guard just with his main champion is just way too much for Vengeful Reapers to handle this summer.
And he also did somehow tank the most damage on his team on that Nidalee as well. The heal is coming in huge for him. So definitely something that teams will have to watch out for. But Throw-Guard ends up becoming more regular on MG Nitro's roster. And with that, we are going to head to an intermission while we set up an interview. And we've got with us for the interview, it's going to be only Louise as well as Yakti Boat here. So just give us a bit of time and we'll have that interview ready shortly. And we're back, everyone, with the winners here from MG Nitro versus Vengeful Reapers. We've got with us the top laner, only Louise, and the AD carry here, Yokti Boat. So, guys, congrats on your wins. How are you feeling after winning that series 2-0?
I gotta say is they should have spammed laugh harder. That's what I'm saying.
Um, in my opinion, I think it was a really tough lane. A really tough lane. They played really good, played really well. But in my opinion, I think I'm just in a whole different level than every ADC in this league and ZGG too. So yeah.
Well, to be fair, let's start with that top lane, only Louise. Yeah, you got thrown a little bit, it looks like, in the game one when they did the lane swap with Microthorn and Jason switching their lanes there. And game two, same champion, different player. It was Jason the second time. How do you feel about that, man?
I just think it's cheese, and cheese only gets you so far in League of Legends. That's why there's so many people stuck in bronze. I'm not saying they belong in bronze, but hey, maybe they do. Anyway, the only thing is, it's like if I had Conqueror on the first game with Renekton, he was gonna get clapped. Press the attack doesn't help me anything with for anything.
Maybe they do take out the maybe. All right, keep going.
Right. So if I take Conqueror in that matchup, I win hands down, 100%. So I wasn't able to because I didn't know it was Darius top. So it's whatever. But for him to sit there and spam, laugh, and emote, and then you don't want to go against me top lane the next game, I don't know, man. That's kind of cowardish. It's kind of whatever. But
I mean, to be fair, it is a valid strategy here, and it did work for now. So teams going up against Vengeful Reapers will have to watch out for that lane swap there, because it might be cheese, but at some finely aged cheese there. But well played from you guys to adapt, send the pressure top, and make sure that you didn't fall too far behind despite that rough start. And Yokti Boat, I believe at this point, you've won your lane every single game thus far, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some truth that that you're ahead of everyone. Did you have any problems adapting to their swap of ADCs here? Did it throw you at all?
No, cause pretty much I play every single champion but Draven, so they can't really ban me out. If they try to, they're just gonna kind of counter themselves. Cause I'm pretty sure my mains are probably their mains too. So I mean, I pulled out the Sivir just cause you know what I mean, like who picks Sivir, who can carry a Sivir, and I was like, hey, go ahead.
yeah,
I'll pick
our
a
game
weird.
strat.
I mean,
Sorry.
I'll just pick like a champ that you know what I mean. It's not like too flashy like Vayne was. I was like, I'll show them that I'll go, whatever.
Our game strat pretty much that game was to have all the pressure come top lane, like I kind of wanted. It didn't really help.
And then just
happen
let us
all that
alone
much,
in lane.
but yeah, so like our strategy was to do the 1-3-1, and every time I seen
But can I say
Leona
something?
and Ash come top, I was like, yeah,
Can I say something real quick?
yeah.
Did y'all see that 4 ganks from Wukong in like the first 5 minutes of the game?
Yeah, they came back
And they
twice.
still didn't kill us? Oh my god. But yeah, man, just that was crazy, bro. Yeah, keep going.
I mean, that was just the whole goal. I would only pick the Lowy because I just want my team to be safe. If they engage on us with Katarina, who's gonna stop her? Who's gonna stop her? Probably Thresh, but like now Alawi is that counter action for that Katarina. She can't just dive in so freely. She has to be really careful. If I have, it's like Darius runs in, if Leona tries to go in, I E her. I use my ult. Now Katarina can't get in. Now my Sivir is safe. That was my only goal of the game. I'm not trying to get fed. That's why I didn't go roam. I wanted to sit top lane. I wanted to make sure they get all the resources they could, and that's what happened. They started sending people top lane. They fell for it. They got gypped. It's whatever.
Yeah, and it definitely paid dividends there because when they started sending people up top, you had reinforcements as well, and you guys seemed to win a lot of those team fights in that top lane there. And actually, with this win, you guys are looking like you guys might potentially be the top of the table, depending on how the Exnol Glacial Inferno game is going up. But next week, you guys are going to be facing Exnol, actually, who's currently top of the table. How are you guys feeling about that?
Okay, can I say something? Okay, so we actually just played Xno and ZGG, and we lost, and we had to FF the second game. So I'm coming after Xno's neck, and I'm a, you know what I'm saying?
For
Yeah.
sure. Bit of a grudge match coming back up. So, you said that you lost to them just recently in ZGG. So, are you
Mhm.
guys prepping anything special, or what's the plan going in for this grudge match?
Our plan is to just the only mistake I won lane, of course. But the only thing that I messed up on was I picked an early game champ, which was Lucian, and the game lasted 45 minutes. So you know what I mean. They had 2 tanks. We had a Graves jungle. Couldn't really do none. they
It was
kind of
more
just shut us
so
down.
I played Alawi that game. I did really well. We all performed phenomenally late game. I mean, early game. It was just late game. We
They
couldn't.
just kind of outscaled us.
Yeah, they outscaled us, and we didn't have a means to end the game.
Oh yeah, and by the way,
So
Glacial Inferno actually beat the crap out of them.
Okay, so you guys are actually going to be tied then going into the last week of the regular season here. So not only is it going to be a grudge match, but it's going to be a match for the top of the table as well. So it should be a great series next week. And so you mentioned that you guys fell short in the late game. So should I be expecting to see that Vayne and Silver come back out again next
Oh
week?
yeah, them I'm gonna just give them tips right now. If they want to win the game, they might as well just ban me out.
my
So
only tip is spam
shoot.
laugh. Maybe you
Yeah, and
win
then
next
just
time.
let my top laner and all my teammates play whatever they want. Just ban me out,
Spam laugh until your control 3 button don't work no
and
more.
then they'll
That's all.
carry me to a victory, dude. I'll just play like I don't know, Soraka ADC. Let's trust it works.
Hey man, Reckless did it. So you've heard it here, ladies and gents. For next week, MG Nitro ban out Yachty Boat might be
Yes sir, yes
a
sir.
possible option to win here. And with that, once again, congratulations on your win. Before we sign off,
Thank you,
Poro,
thank you.
anything to? Do you have anything to ask or?
No,
Um,
you basically answered everything. Um, Once again, just um, what a great series that you guys played and really interesting games. Hopefully you stay on this shape across entirely regular season, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, then Yachty Boat and only Louise. Is there anything you guys would like to say before we head out then?
So I just want to say my name's only Lewis, not Louis.
Oh, sorry, pardon me. So only Lewis. That was my bad.
Only Lewis. Thank
I just want to say to all the ADCs out there, all you guys are really good. All you guys are really skilled, but yeah, just don't try to camp my lane too much, bro. You're just gonna waste your time. Thank you.
So don't ban him. Sorry, ban him, but don't
Ban
camp
him
him.
out. Yeah, just don't camp him too much because literally you seen it. He ganked me 5 times and he died. So, sheesh.
Okay, so thank you guys for the interview. Best of luck into your series next week, and we'll see who ends up top of the table.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we are done the games for tonight, and we have some results actually already out for the uh, Noxus division here. Glacial Inferno actually did win their game, so that's going to put Xnull and MG Nitro tied for first. And now, Poro, like based on the series you saw tonight, do you have any thoughts about the series or how next week might be going here for the Noxus division?
Um, Honestly, I don't really think that anything is going to change too drastically. We do see what Glacier Inferno finally picking up their first couple of wins here against Xnull. Um, but that is quite interesting to see though, because what Xnull, what the number one team right now in Noxus, and that is quite interesting because you're really not expecting this, if I am reading it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I believe, Glacial Inferno's first series win here in the Noxus division. So they've been struggling a little bit, and Xnull was top of the table. So, I mean, definitely a game I would love to, like, I'll be more than happy to watch if I'm not casting it. And that will be Monday, 5 p.m. EST is the time we're streaming that game, because I'd love to know what on earth happened there. That was definitely a bit of an upset.
Yeah, for sure. Disclation Inferno, they are having troubles finding their footing in the league so far, for this split at least. Um, X Knowledge, they are playing really, really well, but something is happening during this week, so they will have to swap something around, swap their play style, whatever it is. I want to see them back on form, so we will have to see what happens there. As for that, there isn't really much that I can tell you that's going to be happening for next week that I would be excited for, or I could predict what's going to happen.
For sure, for sure. Next week is the final week of the regular season as well, so we'll have to see how everything turns out. And with that, that is pretty much it from us tonight. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and watching the exciting series. Por, anything to say before we sign off?
No, that's pretty much it. Just thank you guys for having us as your casters, and hopefully we'll be back again next week, cast the final week.
For sure there. And remember to stay safe, everyone. And that's it from us here at the Coalition League. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next week or throughout the week, throughout the streams. Have a good one.